So the Nintendo Direct just wrapped up, and I'm looking down my list of games that were announced because I was trying to keep up, especially towards the end of the presentation. And I gotta say, Nintendo has absolutely lost their mind with some of these announcements because they just dropped a ton of stuff on us. Not necessarily things to look forward to, but things to play like right now. We'll go over some of that here today and my overall thoughts on the Direct. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like it and subscribe to the Spawn Wave Plus channel if you're new. I'm going to go over some of the highlights of this Direct mostly. Pikmin 4 kicked things off. Not the biggest Pikmin fan in the world, but it looks like Pikmin. There's a dog companion, and it is coming out July 21st. From there, we had a lot of ports, remasters, and DLC. I'll go over basically everything that was in the Direct tomorrow in Newswave on the main Spawn Wave channel. Make sure you check that out tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And we were getting about 25 minutes into this show. And I started to try to send some tweets out, which Twitter's just broken right now, so I can't even do that, which is hilarious based on some of the stuff. It's perfect timing based on some of the stuff that was shown towards the end of the show. Basically, the final quarter of this show was just ridiculous announcement after announcement, all right? And it really got started, I'm going to say, after they showed Kirby Return of Dreamland Deluxe again, which, by the way, is getting a demo today. So you see a lot of demos getting announced, but then they went right into the Nintendo Switch Online. And when they mentioned that, I immediately thought, okay, it's probably Game Boy. And it was. In fact, what was really funny is they started with the Game Boy, like, monochromatic look where it's just green and black, like the DMG Game Boy. And I'm thinking, what if they really just go that? That's it. They don't do any Game Boy Color. Well, turns out they went like the whole way with it. You have Game Boy Color, and even Game Boy Pocket as filters. It's a nice touch. But they did go over some of the titles that will be there. Tetris, Mario Land 2, Link's Awakening DX, Gargoyle's Quest. That's a nice addition. Game & Watch Gallery 3, Alone in the Dark. That's a strange addition. But hey, another game. Metroid 2, Wario Land 3, and then Kirby's Dream Land. Now, they then transitioned from that and talked about online play and local play. So you can sync up with other Switches around you, or yes, you can go online and play these different Game Boy games as if they had a link cable running between them. Again, a nice touch, something you expect. The Game Boy side will be available for the basic tier, the $20 per year tier with NSO. But for people with the expansion pack, they are introducing Game Boy Advanced. And when I saw this, I said, good, because I was really concerned they were just going to stop at Game Boy. But Zelda Minish Cap, Mario Advance 4, WarioWare, Kurokuro, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and then they started showing off games that would be upcoming for both platforms, and Fire Emblem, Golden Sun, those were in there. On the Game Boy side, yeah, the Pokemon trading card game is in there, which is one of my favorite nostalgic trips for the Game Boy. Occasionally, I'll still pop that in from time to time and just play a match in it, and I have a lot of good memories with that one specifically, and it's available today. So the eShop will be updating many, many times over the next couple of hours, because after this, they went into a game that immediately had me tweeting or attempting to tweet. Metroid Prime Remastered. This has been in the making for, 4 years or something. It's been a long time. Jeff Grubb had to cut his hair. But I think he might have been right. And the reason I say that is because the very odd release for this game. So they show Metroid Prime. Yes, it basically looks like a remaster. It looks like it's been cleaned up. The controls have been touched up a bit for the current controller climate. Not like GoldenEye. This is like, oh, you'll be able to use both sticks normally out of the box. Great. But after showing it off a bit, I'm like, yep, that looks like Metroid Prime. Awesome. Can't wait to play it. When can I play it? It's out today. They shadow dropped Metroid Prime Remaster. The digital's out today. The physical version comes out in 2 weeks, February 22nd. So they're probably going to get people to double dip on this one, myself included. I do want to pick it up as soon as possible to check it out, maybe even do a GameCube comparison. And then I obviously want a physical copy of this game. So well played for that one. I'll say Nintendo, because that was pretty cool to see that. I mean, really, when they started talking Game Boy Advance, and Metroid Prime, I think it kind of woke a lot of people up, because before that, sure, there are some bigger games like Splatoon 3. That's a big game, and they're talking about downloadable content for it, right? But up until that point, it was a lot of stuff we already knew about in terms of titles. Then we get that, and it's like, okay, cool. The Game Boy stuff, great. Then they talk about Baten Kaitos. That is real. The HD remaster, it's for the summer. And from there, to be honest, I'm trying to tweet. Things are broken. I'm making sure there's not something wrong with my account. And then some other stuff flew by. So I will have to go back and check those things out. And then they talked about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom with another big time trailer that once again looks great. There was a lot of talk around the $70 price point because it went live on their website. And I thought about making a video earlier today on it. I felt like I needed to see it actually go live before I put a video out there talking about it and discussing it, because it would have only been relevant for a couple of hours. I figure when the direct went up, we would get that pre-order page, which it probably is up here now or in the next hour or two. So I will be looking into that for Newswave tomorrow. They did talk about a collector's edition and a new amiibo of Link. So they, of course, will be trying to sell all kinds of extra stuff with this release, which is going to be a massive title for them this year in May. But the Game Boy stuff, really cool. Metroid Prime Remaster. For a direct to just randomly say, hey, you can play the new Metroid Prime Remastered later on tonight. Again, really cool to see a lot of shadow drops, a lot of demos, a lot of things you can play immediately. We didn't have F-Zero. That's kind of a shame, right? And there weren't necessarily a bunch of brand new titles here. As I mentioned going into this, I was expecting ports, remasters, and Zelda. And we got ports, remasters, DLC, and Zelda. So for me, this did at least measure up to my expectations. It didn't necessarily blow me away outside of the fact that there were so many shadow drops, and one of them being Metroid Prime. I didn't expect that, didn't see that one coming. So this is just a way for Nintendo to continue lining themselves up, as they mentioned, for the first half of 2023 as they work up to that big release for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I will admit, it does feel like Nintendo has shifted their development to the next generation platform, specifically when it comes to software, which takes, you figure, 3 or 4 years for a big time release, and you want to have that line up either with the launch of the system or launch year. So that's kind of what it feels like, at least the territory we're in right now with Nintendo. But overall, the first 25 minutes, it may be forgettable for a lot of people with the Direct, but once I started talking about Game Boy and Metroid Prime, I think people got pretty excited there. But let me know what you guys think about this Nintendo Direct down below. As I said, within my expectations, I would probably have it be a solid B overall. Nothing that would necessarily blow me away or any of that. But hey, Metroid Prime Remastered. It's real, it's a thing, and it's out today. So I'll be checking that out. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.